Okay, so hi everybody, I'm Richard and this is Rob and we are from Dark Frontier Games and we're just having a little friendly chat about our upcoming project, Outbreak, which we are releasing in a few days, releasing on the 2nd, because obviously we don't know when you're actually going to be watching this video.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is obviously a very old prototype. It's kind of changed a bit now, but it gives you an idea of what it will look like. So we're just going to have a really just loose, free little chat and let you know about some projects that we've got coming up and stuff like that. Cool.
And find out a little bit more about you.
Oh no, and you, Robert. So I guess we start off by talking about Outbreak.
Yes. Can you give us an overview
of the
new game?
Yeah, so Outbreak, I started to design this game, I think it's like 9 years ago, maybe?
2012?
Is it? Was it? I guess it's hard to know because obviously you have the idea at some point, but then you don't actually start making the idea till another point, but it's the game's been around for a long time now, and some people have played it like years and years ago.
Well, I think you've moved house twice.
Yeah, I've moved house twice while it's been made and almost at a point of it being finished. But it's kind of changed a lot, been upgraded a lot, but it's been finished probably for a few years now because we've done another game since then and worked on other stuff, but it has actually been in a finished state for a long time. But the reason we didn't release it is because it was going to be our first game originally. It was going to be the first game we released, and then we realised that it's a slightly bigger game, so you then have to charge more money for it.
Yeah.
So it's actually easier to sell a smaller game first to get yourself a bit more established. So this was always kind of like, we'll release it once we've got some more people who know about us and got a kind of bit of a fan base in some respect going, so people know that you've made a product and delivered it already and stuff like that.
And I think also with it being your baby, your firstborn.
yeah.
We wanted to try and see what it was like to self-publish our own game first. Learn from that before moving on to your dream child.
Yeah. I mean, it was when I first had the idea for the game. It was because it was your fault. It's because I remember why I got into games in the first place is that we went to
Zombie Bloodfest.
No. We played Descent. Do you remember we played Descent? And we played it at Ben's house. And me and Robert role played for many years in the past when we were younger. And then we'd played a bit of 40k for a while.
We played quite a lot.
For like a period, wasn't it? There was like, quite a long time ago now, but like we played 40k for a bit. Oh no, was that? Oh, I can't really remember now.
We played 40k, I think 6th edition. I played it when I was much younger.
Yeah. And me too. Yeah, many years ago when it was when I was like 17. Yeah.
We became adults with jobs and could
Yeah.
We got back into it rather foolishly, and we played that quite a lot. And we had quite a big group then. We to play.
Yeah.
We did little tournaments.
Yeah.
You and Rob did the circuit, I think, as well.
Yeah. We did some games, and so then. Having played that, and then we went to play a board game, and then we ended up playing Descent, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't realise that board games could be like as cool as that. You know what I mean? Because we were like running around shouting treasure, having loads of fun, and I was just like, I guess I never thought about board games in that way. So then obviously I started to think like, oh my god, look what you can do with board games. This is so cool. And then I remember that somebody had said. I was looking at board games, what were out then, and even back then there wasn't really that many games. They weren't popular as they are now. There wasn't like this many games.
Definitely.
This would be like the amount of games in the total world. But like now, there's thousands come out every week. But like, so I remember reading about Pandemic, and then in my head thinking about the game Pandemic and like reading about it, And then I remember like building this idea of what Pandemic was going to be in my head.
Yes.
And then getting the copy of Pandemic and playing it and going like, this is rubbish. What the hell? Because it wasn't the game that was in my head.
Your expectations.
It wasn't what I expected the game to be because I'd made up this game in my head. And then I was just like, well, I'll just make the game in my head again. so Outbreak owes everything to Pandemic really, because it was the game that I thought Pandemic could be. Even though now I love Pandemic and I think it's really good because it's a very slick game. So you know, as you get older, you can have a bit more appreciation for the older games. Like I think when I play like Catan and stuff in the beginning, you kind of think this game's boring. But then as you get older, you think, actually, it's a really good game. And you play it more and more and more and things like that. So really Outbreak was kind of born of me thinking of dreaming up this idea in my head. And then we started to develop it. And I made like a little hexagon one at the start. It used to be called Super Hexagon Zombie Apocalypse or something, didn't it?
SHZA.
Super Hexagon Zombie Apocalypse. Yeah. Shizza. Yeah, that wasn't called Shizza. It was called anyway. Whatever. It was called Super Hexagon Zombie Apocalypse. So there's all these little hexagons, and you just put them together on the table, and you move around and like fight all these zombies and stuff like that. And then it's kind of developed into the behemoth it is now with a massive board and like
I think
loads more.
Mean, you've always, when we played 40k, you would make all the scenery and the props. You've always been very sort of handy and you'd be able to make stuff with your bare hands. And you're like, oh, maybe it's all, when we did the role play stuff, we'd make props and and stuff. So I think you being practical to be able to make demo thing.
That's right. Because that's half. When you're making anything, you just got the first thing you got to do is make a prototype as quickly as possible. That's what I'd say. Is as soon as you make a prototype, you can then play test it and then you'll realise if it's shit or not. So that's the first thing you need to do, because you'll have this, you could spend, which I probably did with Outbreak. I spent far too long designing it really, because I spent years working on it. And that was my first mistake, is that really what you need to do when you're designing anything is work on lots of different games. Lots of people have, I'm sure if you're into game design at all, you'll know this, that you want to work on lots of different projects at once. I, for years, probably for like 5 years, probably spent my time working on one game, which means that you just spend way too much time rewriting, going over things that are probably unnecessary.
Find that line when it's finished.
Yeah, that's right, yeah, because I would never finish it. Yeah. Rob would always be telling me, like, you've got to stop doing stuff to the game. So, like, so if I'd been working on other projects, I would have probably worked on another project, got some inspiration from that, and then could have gone back to it. But yeah, so I probably spent far too much time designing it, and then it kind of got streamlined from people play testing it. It got streamlined a lot, and it did change a lot, because we had features in the original game that we've taken out that we thought were hilarious, but then other people would be like, and then it's about kind of managing people's expectations, because you deliver people a game and go, this is a zombie game, and then maybe if it's got stuff that we think's hilarious and stupid in it, then other people go, oh no, I wanted this experience, and you're giving me something slightly skew-if to that experience, to what you're kind of selling. So we learned a kind of lot by going through so much play testing with different people and stuff like that, and so it has changed, and it's in a great state now. We love the game. It's kind of it's strange, isn't it? Because it's been out. We've had it for so long, and it's been play tested by people, as I say, years and years ago. Yeah. That to now we're actually going to release it. So it's kind of, I don't know. It's a bit surreal for me, really.
Well, we were just playing it before.
Yeah.
We come up here.
Have a refresher.
Have a refresher.
Yeah.
It was a point where I was like, we've got to stop playing it.
Yeah. We played it for about an hour, maybe, was it?
Yeah, probably.
We were trying to speed play it. I was like, let's just play it. We'll go over the rules because it's coming out next week, and just so we know we've got everything fresh in our mind if we need to answer questions and stuff like that. And then inevitably you start playing it and you get really into it, and then we're just like, well, we've got to stop playing it. We're just going to refresh our memory, and then we ended up playing it properly. But that's what the game's like. I think the game, every time you do play it, it is good.
Yes.
Like everything in it is really, really nice. Works well together. There's like loads of options in the game.
With play testing it, and the trap you sometimes fall into when you play test the game, you play it again and again. Usually, if you're like, for example, one of the other games we were doing recently.
Yeah.
I'm taking it to different groups that I board game with.
Yeah.
And so I get to play it again and again and again. And sometimes you can get, obviously, if you do something quite a lot, you're going to get bored of it. But Outbreak is always a different game each time you play it. It's never the same experience.
Yeah, it is.
Because
it is.
The amount of content's in
Yeah.
it.
Just because the way the game works is that you're at the start of the game, you're building your base. And so even before you start playing the game, you're having to make decisions. So at the start of the game, you kind of get allotted a number of city tiles that you use to build your base. So even when you get those tiles, like where you're going to place them to build your settlement that you're going to defend is choice. It's like, what resources have we got? What skills have we got available to us? And then once you've built your base, then you choose your characters. And then what characters you choose also depends on how you built the base. And then, so even before you start the game, there's choices. So it's like choosing this, then you're choosing which characters complement the base and which complement each other. And then as soon as you start playing a game, when the zombies get revealed, and the zombies are kind of relentless because you have to reveal the same amount. You have to reveal a zombie for each player character in the game every turn. So there's no let up, because you basically, every turn you're like, well, there's going to be more and then more and then more and then more. And so everything, it's always just like, the way everything works together is that there's never ever going to be the same choice, because you never know. There's too many options. There's just too many options for things.
It's not an easy game, so you will find that you might want to try different tactics or approaches. To see if you can get past that sort of finish line.
I feel like we're good at it now, though. You know, don't you think? I do think, like, once we know, I guess you get better at knowing where the risks are. Like, oh, okay, this is a bit risky, or
I think I'm good at it.
Yeah, I just like it when things go wrong, because I think it's hilarious. When everything starts going to shit and you're like, yes, which it always seems to do, like, towards a critical moments, because you seem to be like rolling and getting quite good, and then you can very easily lose. Like, I remember when a long time ago now, we played that game where we played it up here, and there was like loads. I think we played it with 6 of us, because you can play the game from 1 to 8 player, and that's something I'll talk about in a minute. Is that we played it with 6 of us, and like the game is still engaging with more players, because of the game, where the way the game works is every time each player has to reveal 1 zombie, so there's always going to be stuff for every character to do, and there's no kind of less what do they call it when other people are telling other people what to do? Quarterbacking. It's kind of less that, because there's so many options in the game. You could quarterback, but you don't know if what you're saying is the right thing to do, because there's too many options.
There's lots of factors.
So you can kind of go, this would probably be a good idea, but that's not necessarily would be the best idea. So so we played a big game, and I think we were like doing really well, and we got right to the end, and then, like, because we hadn't been keeping an eye on, basically in the game there's a few ways you can lose the game. There's the innocent in the game, which are basically like the helpless in the game, which are basically like the old and the children that you have to defend, and they're like a token that kind of you can move around the game, and you've got to like not let them die. If they die, you lose the game. And if the main base that's in the centre of the centre of your settlement, if that gets overrun by the boss, then you lose the game as well. But often you die because the helpless get, if a zombie horde overruns them, then you lose the game, and you kind of often lose track of where they are. And I seem to think it was like we'd beat the boss, and we were like, oh, we've done it. And then I think maybe it was like a flaming horde or something like that, like a horde that's on fire. Basically, if you end your turn next to it, basically you die, you take a wound, and like we'd missed that the flaming horde was there, and basically the settlers burnt to death. so even on the last turn, we were like, we'd beaten the boss, and we were like, we've done it, and then we forgot the flaming guys, and we were like, oh no, they've just died in the flame. And so like there's lots of like little fun things like that happen in the game that kind of make it interesting.
You're keeping track of everything that's happening.
You need there's too much going on, there's so many different things going on, you need to keep track of them all, but yeah, that's why it works.
It was good. I mean, we almost lost the one we played just before this. Because there's a type of zombie that's a fast zombie.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. A feral zombie. and they move when you reveal them. They automatically overrun the settlement straight away. So and you can have knock-on effects that if there's a zombie in front of them, they force the other one forwards. And then we were in a situation where we were like, oh, hang about. If he appears, then he's going to push him, and then he's going to oversend that settlement, and then we're going to die straight away.
Unless we deal with it.
Unless we deal with it, yeah.
Which we did.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we formed and then you kind of like find these like new little plans every time you play. Like, oh, this is a good idea. You could use that, and we probably did something that I'd never even thought of before. Where I can't remember what it was. Whether we a certain tactic where it was like where we worked together in a certain way that I probably haven't seen before. So that even playing it after I've played it for years and years, there's always like some new weird little way that you find to beat the game. So yeah, it was good.
Going back onto script.
Yes. Yes. What's in the script?
How can potential backers get involved and support Outbreak on Kickstarter?
So it is going live on at 12 p.m. on the 2nd. You'll be able to back it through Kickstarter. We're also working with Pledge Manager, which is great, for fulfillment to collect everyone's details and stuff like that. So that makes everything even smoother. Yes. So just if you go to our website, darkfrontiergames.com, darkfrontiergames.com, there's a link there in big orange letters. You'll see Outbreak text. You can click that, and that takes you straight to the Outbreak Kickstarter page, which you can sign up to now anyway. So you'll get notified as soon as it gets launched. And you can, on our website, you can also join our mailing list that we've got on there if you want to find out about new stuff that we've got coming up, which we've got lots of new stuff coming up, which we'll tell you about.
And we will only contact you about products as they're coming up and being released. You're not going to get any spam or any junk mail.
I mean, this year, how many times have we emailed people? What, once?
Twice, if that.
Twice, yeah. So I know a lot of people out there don't like being emailed. They're like, oh, you're going to email me all the time. Like, we're not. We're going to email when we've got a product coming out. And that's it. So you're not going to get any
offers, I suppose.
Yeah. We're just too stingy. I haven't got any offers.
Self-publishing.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you can tell your friends or tell us what you think about it, get the word out. It's just us two.
Yeah, definitely.
We don't have massive budgets to.
Yeah. We do this for fun in our free time.
Yes.
So basically, we don't have any budgets we don't budget for things like, we're going to spend thousands on this and this and this. We'd hopefully want to organically build up our brand by getting people who are watching our channel, watching what we're doing, getting our product, finding out if they like it or not, to support us. And as I say, I think we've got a lot of really exciting projects coming up. So stick around, make sure you join the mailing list, because I'm sure there'll be a game, even if one game is not something that you like, there'll be a game that comes out that you will be interested in, hopefully.
That's a nice segue, because the next question, what other projects are you working
on? Whoa! So I'm working on loads of projects at the moment, but mainly next, I think we decided we're going to do Escape from Mars.
Escape from Mars is ready.
Escape from Mars is ready, excuse me.
I think it's ready.
Yeah, I think it's ready. Escape from Mars is it here? I mean, it is. Well, this is just a prototype box, but you can see, and this isn't actually going to be the artwork. This is going to be in the game, but potentially on a comic.
Yes.
Because there's going to be a little really awesome comic thing we're going to do in it as well, because we love it. Because Rob wrote a brilliant story. He's good at something. That is really exciting, and as part of the story, and so. It is ready. Yeah, it needs a few little bits of polish up, but it was kind of Escape from Mars is basically, I wanted to make a solo hidden traitor game. That was what I started out with, because I kind of, in lockdown, I remember like wanting to play certain types of games and there not being like a hidden traitor mechanic game.
Yeah.
That you get to play on your own. You've got all these cool games and you're like, oh, but I would love to play this type of game, but there isn't one I get to play where it's like a hidden traitor on my own, because they just don't exist. So I kind of started out with that as a goal, and then ended up with Escape from Mars, which it's changed so many times. I remember only probably a few months ago I was going to bin the whole thing because I got to a point and I was just like, I've redesigned it like 5 times now, it's not working, and then I kind of like calmed down a bit, designed something else, and then I went back to it, and then you play tested the last version of it, and I think it works really well. And it's really good. We did change a few fundamental things about the game, made it a hell of a lot quicker to play because it was just taking too long before. I think originally I played it, and I remember playing it with Rob, another one of our friends, Rob, and we played it for about 4 hours. And I was like, and even though we had loads of fun, I was like, this is just too long. Like, it doesn't need to be. Yeah. So it got streamlined quite a bit by a simple mechanic of just reducing the number of characters in the game.
It's definitely evolved a lot.
Yeah. Oh, definitely, yeah. And I remember even Mark from Not Board Gaming, who did a very nice review for us of Outbreak. He play tested. Do you remember at the UKGE? He play tested the first original version.
Oh yeah.
Of Escape from Mars, which is a very different game then. But even then, I remember getting feedback from him then, and then implementing that feedback. And then, as I say now, the game's just a totally different game. But that is a game where you control a whole crew of on Mars. And there's basically one other person is kind of been infected with this monster, and then you have to gain clues about who the potential person is, and you have to fight all these aliens, and it's very cool. It's got loads going on. You can play it up to 4 player, but it kind of has been designed again like Outbreak, which I need to talk about, as you can play it solo. But you can play it with up to 4 players as well, and then you can control like 4 people each in the game, up to 4 people each, and then you've got like different skills and different roles for the different classes of character, and then each different class can kind of do different things on the ship. Like, I don't know, the mechanic's going to go and fix things or send the robot off to do stuff, and obviously like the scientists are going to they've got to make the antidotes for people who are getting infected and stuff like that.
Puzzle mechanic, and that's really
good. Yeah, and it's got this amazing puzzle mechanic in it, which I love, which I took inspiration from another board game which I really liked, and then I remember having a chat with the author of the board game. I was having a big chat with him about the mechanics of it, and then I kind of was like, I've got this idea and it's kind of similar to this, and we were chatting about it, and I came up with this kind of new idea on this mechanic where you've got to kind of use these cards to figure out. It's too hard to explain. It's like quite a complex puzzle.
It's a very challenging puzzle.
Yeah, it's a very challenging puzzle, and you have to get clues, and the more clues you get, it allows you to decipher the puzzle quicker, or easier, or decipher it at all. But so he's kind of got like 2 different games going on. You've got one game where you're kind of doing things on this big map, and then one person who's normally a scientist is then sitting in a corner desperately trying to solve this. So I can't remember what I was saying there. Sorry, the little interlude there, it got cut off.
Scientists.
Yes,
we're
talking about the scientists in the corner doing
the DNA of the aliens to find a cure.
Yeah.
Roles.
But it's lots of people doing different roles, and it's and it makes for an exciting game that everyone's got their own little thing to do. But yes, I moved on to saying before the video cut out. That in Outbreak, it's a 1 to 8 player game, and I call it a solo centric game because it's kind of built from the ground up to be a solo game that allows you to play it with up to 8 players. So it's not got a tacked on solo mode. I wanted to make a game where you can sit down and play it on your own, and it's still a complete experience. There's no extra thing you have to do to the game. You don't have to change anything about the game to play it solo. It's the same game. So basically, if you're playing solo, you control 4 characters. If you play it with 4 people, you control 1 character each. If you can play it with up to 8 people. 8 player is mental. I wouldn't really recommend it, but you can do it. So there's no reason for it not to be in the game. Now, not many people are going to get 8 people round to play a game. It doesn't happen that often.
And name an 8 player game that's not mental.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it's kind of like, so it just allows you to have that mental game if you really want one. But there would be so many zombies revealed at the start of the game. It would be so hard. But that's even kind of more fun that you've got suddenly. Then you'd be like, how the hell are we going to deal with this? But that is kind of the game. But anyway, we'll move through the list.
You want to go back to the list?
Yes, come on, let's go through the list. Yeah.
Are there any new game genres or mechanics you're excited to explore in future projects?
Game mechanics. I think we're always playing games, and then seeing things in games, and then taking a bit of inspiration from certain things. Like we played Scythe the other day, didn't we?
Oh yeah.
That I hadn't played before. But that's probably my least. I call it a point salad game, where you're basically just trying to. I think the genre would be a point salad game, where you basically there's lots of things you can do to get points.
Yes. Yeah.
And you're doing all those things to get as many points as you can. Those kind of, I think, because we had just played it 2-player, just so we could see the mechanics of the game and see how it worked. If you were playing it 4-player, it'd be a much better game, because there'd be loads more attacking and things going on, wouldn't there?
Yeah, I suppose there's aspects of games that are competitive, or what I would say PvP, when you're playing as the players. There's only one winner.
Yeah.
And there's certain games where you can just stay in your lane and try to be more efficient about gaining points, or you can sabotage your opponents or have conflict with them.
Yeah.
And I think with just the two of us, a head-to-head conflict doesn't have as much spice as if you've got different sort of. If I pick on you, then this guy's going to pick on you.
Yeah. So I mean, like it's good. I mean, like that's all we do is really play lots of other games just to kind of see what other games are doing and see why certain games are popular and stuff like that. I mean, I probably don't pick any mechanics. I normally will just kind of like design loads of games, and then maybe have like a day session where some friends come round and I'll go, right, I've got 5 games to play test here. Let's play test them all. Like I did that with Rob and Mark and Jonathan, and I think like a bunch of people came round and we played like 5 different games I've made. And then I just get to see which bits of which game ideas work, and then go, okay, well that idea in that game, and there'll only just be like small little ideas. So like we've got another game we've got coming up is called Dark Magic, which is just like a little card game. Which is just like a little card. Is it in this box?
It is.
I think it might be. Now these are all just like.
I think the prototype might have
handmade prototypes.
A bit.
Yeah. But yeah. It's just like a little card. I think you might be able to see the backs of the cards there. It's just like a little card game with some like nice, pretty art that Rob's been working on. And it's kind of like a simple card game idea where you're like battling each other with cards, but then like I guess what
bluff and memory.
Yeah, it's like bluff and memorizing what the other players have got and stuff like that. But I think when it comes to mechanics, that's what I was doing. I was like, at one point I was like, right, let's try and make the simplest game possible. So I was like trying to make really simplistic games just to find which mechanics were really good, and then you end up making a game like Dark Magic where you try and make a really simple mechanic, and then you go, actually the game really works really well, just this simple mechanic of you're all kind of sitting around fighting each other with cards. And then I kind of made another game called White Noise. We've got another game called White Noise, which I might have a box for.
I think I might have.
You've got the box. I might, wait a sec. Maybe in here somewhere.
And I think it's more elegant than simple.
Yeah. This is a very old prototype box. But, that's just a handmade prototype box. Where again, I tried to make a really simple game, which was like the simplest game possible, with a deck of cards and like 2 dice, and you basically like play cards, and you like have to do this like journey where you like travel through space and you've got to survive. So I kind of ended up making like a whole bunch of smaller games from little mechanics that I've been working on, and that might be something we release in future as well. I might do like a conglomeration of like a bunch of games that we release all at the same time, that are just like interesting ideas and bits like that. But mainly first, Escape from Mars will be next.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and then what's the next big one after that? Maybe we don't talk about it.
There's the Space Truckers one.
Oh yeah, Space Truckers. That's you.
The pizza delivery. There's a few out there.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're focused at the moment is on Outbreak.
Yeah.
Really would like to see this do well.
Yeah. It's a really good game. That's the thing. It's a really good game. It really works really well. Everything, the amount of time and effort and love that's been poured into the game has all been worth it. And we're just excited for everybody to get their hands on it. We've got loads of, you'll be able to see on the Kickstarter page, we've got loads of amazing feedback from people who, from all the people who have played it. People really love it. Even when we had people play test it who didn't like older versions of it, have since played the new versions, really like loads of the changes. I mean, we really appreciate it. Even take on board any negative feedback is always great feedback to help you change the game. I mean, that was years ago now, but and it you know, it's a game that I'm really proud of, and I think once everybody gets hold of this, we'll be able to see. I can't wait for like the feedback that comes back.
No, we've got a very famous person promoting it as well.
Oh yeah, we have.
How long ago it was.
Oh yeah. Christopher Eccleston. As Christopher Eccleston has done a video. Don't ask me how I know Christopher Eccleston, but he did a little promo video for us a long time ago now as well.
Did you get him to play it?
No, he didn't play it. He did a little promo video for us, which is kind of special about the game.
Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it is amazing to get him to do something for the game. It's kind of fun. And even working with a great artist, Ray Dillon is the artist who did the art for the box. He's worked on with like loads of big names. He's a comic book artist, worked with like Ridley Scott, and he's worked with does like Wonder Woman comics and loads of stuff like that. So that's really cool.
And it's a very bright and vibrant game as well.
Yeah. Completely, I guess, completely different to most zombie games. We wanted to make a game that was like not all dark and dingy. If you open pretty much every zombie game, it's like the same brown colour palette with blood splattered everywhere, and it's just like it doesn't really. It's just boring, kind of boring to me to look at. I kind of like games to look more punchy and like fun. I mean, it's a board game. It's just like a fun little thing.
Mean, the bright colours represent the game, the activity. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not a horror game, although you are working on a horror zombie game as well.
Yeah. That's one of our games. Yeah. Dead Zone,
which is a bit more traditional horror game.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
this is more of an action game. It's action, resource management.
Yeah.
Builder.
It's
got everything in it.
Yeah, it's got everything in it. You're building stuff. You're kind of developing your city, making it bigger.
Skilling up.
Yeah, getting skills for your characters, building weapons and stuff like that. And there's kind of like a bit of everything. And I guess there's a bit of there's kind of like Ameritrash gaming and a bit of Euro gaming in there. Euro gaming with the kind of worker placement, Ameritrash with the kind of dice rolling. But you can kind of mitigate all the dice rolling in the game if you just play really smart. So you can just go, well, let's just be really defensive and gather resources and keep them, and then you won't need to roll as many dice, or you can just be gung ho, just be like, I'm just going to run it and roll dice and attack everybody and stuff like that.
It's nice that it's got that duality.
Yeah, definitely.
Back on script.
Yeah.
Are there any stretch goals or special rewards planned for the Kickstarter campaign?
So yeah, we do have some Kickstarter exclusives that we are putting out with the game. So it's kind of like, I kind of made these like separate missions. So Outbreak, really, every time you play it, you just kind of like there's a certain way you build the decks, you kind of randomly build it. So it's always kind of random every time you play. But I kind of made some kind of scripted levels, just to kind of...
Some scenarios.
Yeah, some scenarios.
Welcome back to part 3. We're talking about stretch goals in the Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah. So yeah, stretch goals. So we've got some Kickstarter exclusives, which is basically these little scenarios that we're going to put in with the game, and there's a couple of new tiles, which kind of, so we've written like a story piece, because it's called Outbreak Diaries, the little expansion, and I say so you set scenarios that kind of follow along in linear order, and there's like a little story that goes along with it, and then there's some like tiles that kind of match the story, and then there's a bunch of other skill cards and things that go with it as well. So it's kind of like one little story that comes together with the game. So it's just a little bonus extra.
If we get lots of comments asking for the backstory to the characters, that might help.
Rob will do that as well. And we have actually got stretch goals for the game as well, which are just going to upgrade the quality of the components, because I personally hate when games have all these giant stretch goals, which is all stuff that you would want to be in the game. So everything really that should be in the game is in the game. And we're just going to upgrade the quality of the components, so you're not missing out on anything, you know. And I think that's a sentiment that lots of people share nowadays, that you get a bit fed up with. There's all these stretch goals and you need them all in the game, you know.
Content, I suppose.
Yeah.
Rather than holding back content.
Yeah. We're not holding anything back. We're just, if we manage to smash all our goals, then the quality of the things inside the box will be a lot nicer. So
I think we'll move on to the last section.
Yes, let's do it. Yeah, because we haven't got long.
The importance of community feedback and how it has shaped your game.
Yeah. Well, we've had loads of people play test not only this game but all of our games. Get play tested loads.
We try to hit different types of testers as well.
Yeah. We give it to. We're not just giving it to friends. We're giving it to people who have never met, and contact them and be like, hey, I see you're reviewing games or you're interested in games. And we've had really good feedback from loads of people in the past. It's completely changed some games. As I say, it completely changed Outbreak. Some feedback we had, which was to do with the way that we originally made it, which was had some kind of more slapstick stuff in it, I guess.
More party elements.
More party elements that we think were hilarious, but then some people were looking for more a bit more kind of seriousness to the game, which I totally appreciate.
I miss the chicken dice.
Yeah. We used to have in this game. We used to have a thing called the chicken dice, which you had to do a chicken dance if you did something wrong. But you never know, that might appear one day, maybe, with enough calls.
But it wasn't, serious as on the game.
Yeah.
The role of art and design in your games and how you collaborate with artists.
I think because we're such a small company, I'm always reaching out to artists and finding people who want to work on our stuff, and obviously work on our stuff within our budget. So that means you have to find people who are really interested in board games and tell them about the project. And if they sounds like something they like Escape from Mars, I've got somebody who's doing the box cover art for it, and they're somebody they've just kind of built a rapport with over time, and was chatting to them about games, and they're really into games, and they're going to do the artwork for the game for free. Effectively, they're going to do the artwork, and I'm going to give them a copy of the game, and obviously they'll be credited with it and everything like that. But they're an amazing artist. They're currently working on a huge Bethesda game. So it's amazing to find people who are just, if you find board gamers and they're really into board games as well, and they find out about your project, and you have a big conversation about it, and if they like it enough. So that's the stage we're at the moment, is we're kind of just working with people who are also passionate about the things we're doing and where we can take it and stuff like that.
Yeah, if they're inspired and
that's right.
As well.
Yeah, that's right. You tell them about the game and they go, oh my god, that sounds amazing. Then that's where we're at the moment. Until we're a much bigger company, then that's where we're at.
Tips for aspiring game designers looking to launch their own games. Now, with the caveat that we've launched one game.
Hey. It's a mess.
So from our limited experience from so far,
I think as we said already, you've got to design loads of games. Design loads of games at once, basically, and then if you find one game you're going stale on, it's probably not a good idea. So I think that would be, at the moment, that would be my advice if you are designing games, is design 5 games at once. Don't just design one, and then you'll find that some mechanics down the line in the future, you'll suddenly go, oh, that other idea, that bit will work in this game, and that's generally what I find happens with me at the moment.
I think some dedication and follow through is obviously important.
Yeah.
Yes, that you're dedicated to doing this.
Yeah. I love making board games. I'll do it more than relaxing, if that makes sense. I'll have some free time and I'll be like, I could play a computer game, and I'll play a computer game for like 5 minutes, and I'll be like, I know what, I want to design a game. That's more fun to me than anything else in a way.
I think we both know lots of people who've got a game idea.
That's right. Yeah.
And when it's having the courage.
Yeah.
Or just the dedication or the follow through to make it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Right, we're going to run out of film now.
Okay.
We've got to go.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll probably do another chat at some point, and
like and subscribe.
No, you're not supposed to say that anymore. Check out the Outbreak Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And get a copy and tell all your friends.
Talk about it. Please talk about it.
Talk about it on the internet, and we'll come and speak to you soon about some more projects. Thanks very much.
Cheers.